watching Eagle News International. I'm Arnie Aquino reporting from Burnaby Mountain Park in Vancouver, British Columbia. Here are today's top stories. Spectacular Hawaii lava flow captured on camera. Rallies across the U.S. against Trump's executive orders. Dramatic video captures truck smashing into a public bus. Colombia and FARC rebels to wage joint fight against coca cultivation. Now for the story. Photographers and lava enthusiasts caught a unique glimpse at a so-called lava spill. The spill occurred on the Kilauea volcano located on the island of Hawaii. Its activity was described as moderate by Mick Kalber, a videographer who filmed such lava flows. Kalber described the lava flow as having recently advanced around 1/3 of a mile. Photographers said the vent of the flow was very active with molten lava and that the lava flow streaming from it was moving in a continuous path towards the Pacific Ocean inside the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Once the molten lava comes into contact with the ocean, an explosive reaction occurs that can send debris flying. New land is formed after the interaction occurs. Officials say it is not advisable to get anywhere near the interaction due to the explosive reaction and also because the new land can be unstable and chunks can break it off into the ocean. Sometimes the lava flows can be so expansive that they pose a risk to Hawaiian communities and even burn down houses if they come into contact with each other. In this instance, authorities say communities are not at risk of coming into contact with the lava, leaving only a sight to behold. Protests continued across several U.S. states after U.S. President Donald Trump's first full work week in public office, which was marked by one executive order after the next. In Minneapolis, Minnesota, protesters stood in the middle of a bridge to stop traffic, demonstrating against what has been one of the new president's controversial executive orders, his move to revive the Keystone XL oil pipeline and proceed with the Dakota Pipeline project. A number of activists and members of the indigenous Native American communities have been outspoken about both pipelines, which threaten their tribal lands. Trump say the pipeline projects would create new U.S. jobs, but the project's biggest winners may be Canadians. Among the controversial orders was a new executive action which put a 4-month hold on allowing refugees into the U.S. and temporarily barred travelers from Syria and 6 other Muslim-majority countries. The White House says the moves would help protect Americans from terrorist attacks. In Hartford, Connecticut, protesters gathered outside the city's legislative building to demand action from Governor Daniel Malloy, calling on him to push back on Trump's orders. Part of Trump's immigration plan is reportedly to do away with so-called sanctuary cities, places where immigrants go to live and work and are regarded as safe havens. Similar protests sprang up in Miami-Dade County, Florida, where protesters condemned Mayor Carlos Jimenez for vowing to fully cooperate with Trump's plan. Trump paused the entry for travelers from Syria and the 6 other nations for at least 90 days, saying his administration needed time to develop more stringent screening processes for refugees, immigrants, and visitors. At least 6 people were taken to a local hospital after a pickup truck crashed into a public Centro transportation bus in Syracuse, New York. The footage obtained by an NBC local affiliate via Centro shows passengers being thrown across the bus cabin on the moment of impact. One man was visibly unable to stand up. Local media reported that the truck driver accidentally hit the gas instead of the brake when the vehicle went barreling into the bus, which was stopped at a traffic light. Authorities are investigating the cause of the accident. The Colombian government and the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia announced the start of the national program for the substitution of crops for illicit use, which seeks to eradicate 50,000 hectares of coca plantations within 1 year, as coca farmers prepare to march against the move. The program constitutes one of the most significant pacts agreed in the peace accord signed between the two parties late last year, and seeks to eradicate in the first year over half of all coca plantations identified in the country. Colombia, considered one of the principal global producers of cocaine, has more than 96,000 hectares of coca plantations and manually destroyed a total of 17,642 hectares and confiscated 378 tons of cocaine last year, according to United Nations figures. As government and FARC representatives announced the start of the program in the capital, Bogota, cocoa farmers in Colombia's southwestern coca mountains gathered to guard their crops from the military, which they said had arrived last Saturday to begin eradicating coca plants. According to a statement released jointly by the FARC and government, the program will benefit 50,000 families through a tiered conditional cash transfer program, offering monthly and one-off payments, as well as opportunities for further credits in exchange for cooperation for eradicating crops for illicit use and preparing lands for legal crops, among other activities. FARC Commander Pastor Alape told reporters in Bogota on Friday that the program offered the opportunity to engage communities in development projects in some of the areas worst hit by the conflict, helping to integrate the society following 52 years of internal conflict. Alape also expressed confidence that the associations of coca farmers will cooperate with the program, despite a planned march of 5,000 farmers against crop eradication. The High Commissioner for Peace, Rafael Pardo, told reporters that the program would be fully financed by federal government funds amounting to $340 million. He welcomed international contributions but said the program relied solely on national funds. Pardo said the substitution of illicit crops would be more cost-effective long-term than eradicating crops, but did not discard the possibility of the government using fumigations for forceful removal, given the existence of criminal groups involved in the production and trafficking of illegal substances. In Cauca, however, where cocoa farmers began to gather on Friday ahead of Saturday's march, a mood of skepticism remained regarding the investments promised. Cacao and fruit trees are among crops that will be planted instead of coca, depending on the soil characteristics, to be examined by agricultural experts. The FARC initially taxed coca production by farmers in the rural areas under its control, but it went on to dominate trafficking in some areas. The guerrillas vowed to abandon the lucrative drug trade once a peace deal was reached, but other armed groups, including paramilitary groups and other crime gangs, have been looking to replace the FARC and take over its old income stream wherever possible. On to our national news. TransCanada submits U.S. application to build Keystone Pipeline. Ex-Montreal mayor convicted in corruption trial. Canada military raises torture objections. IKEA buys Canada wind farm to offset carbon footprint. Canadian pipeline builder TransCanada announced it had submitted an application to build the Keystone XL pipeline, a controversial project that has been given the green light by U.S. President Donald Trump. Trump gave a conditional go-ahead for the project, which was put on hold by former President Barack Obama over environmental concerns. Calgary-based TransCanada said in a statement it had filed a presidential permit application with the U.S. State Department for approval of the project. The 1,180-mile pipeline would carry oil from Canadian tar sands to U.S. Gulf Coast refineries, with some 870 miles winding through the United States. Trump repeatedly asserted during the U.S. presidential campaign that he would approve the pipeline. The project would add $3.4 billion to the U.S. economy. TransCanada must now wait while the U.S. conducts a new study of the Keystone XL project. But between Trump's conditional go-ahead and his nomination of Rex Tillerson, the former CEO of ExxonMobil, as Secretary of State, the project is likely to be approved. Canada is the world's sixth largest oil producer thanks to the Alberta tar sands, which produces some of the dirtiest crude oil in the world. Unlike traditional crude, which gushes from a well, tar sand oils must be dug up and essentially melted with steaming hot water before it can be refined. It results in huge lakes of polluted water and the strip mining of millions of acres of once pristine boreal forests. Environmentalists say that tar sands oil contain a harmful and corrosive component, bitumen, which makes pipeline ruptures or leaks more likely and carries greater health and safety risks. TransCanada says that buried pipelines are far safer for transporting oil than ships or trains, and that bringing another 830,000 barrels of oil a day from friendly neighboring Canadian would reduce U.S. dependence on the Middle East and Venezuela by up to 40%. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who supports building the pipeline, recently said he wants to gradually halt exploration of the oil sands and transition away from fossil fuels. Former Montreal Mayor Michael Applebaum was found guilty of 8 corruption charges linked to a kickback scheme from a previous government post. Applebaum, 53, faced 14 criminal charges, including fraud against government and breach of trust from his time as mayor of a borough in the mainly French-speaking province of Quebec. Between 2002 and 2012, he faced up to 5 years of prison after a Quebec court found him guilty of taking kickbacks from government construction bids. Applebaum, the first English-speaking mayor of Canada's second-largest city in the century, resigned in June 2013, a day after he was arrested on corruption charges. Applebaum maintained he was innocent and did not testify at the trial. His arrest by an anti-corruption squad came at a time when police were investigating widespread corruption in Quebec. A commission headed by Superior Court Justice France Charbonneau was launched in 2011 to investigate alleged graft and bid rigging after a leaked police report suggested that construction companies were conspiring to keep prices high and possibly had links to organized crime. The Canadian military objected to the use of torture as an interrogation technique after U.S. President Donald Trump said he thinks it works against the Islamic State jihadist group. Canada's military and security services work closely with the U.S. counterparts, which has led to a handful of post-9/11 rendition and torture controversies. A Canadian engineer was arrested by U.S. officials in 2002 on a tip-off from Canadian federal police and sent to Syria and tortured for 1 year before being cleared. 3 other Canadians suspected of Al-Qaeda links also claimed to have been tortured by Syrian military intelligence during trips abroad from 2001 to 2004, saying that Canadian security officials had supplied their captors with intelligence and questions to pose to the detainees. Trump voiced support for torture in a television interview with ABC News, saying it was necessary to fight fire with fire in the face of the beheadings of Americans and other atrocities by Islamic State militants. But he added he would defer to the advice of Pentagon Chief James Mattis and Central Intelligence Agency Director Mike Pompeo. Mattis and Pompeo have voiced support of current U.S. rules banning the use of torture in prisoner interrogations. The previous Canadian administration ordered a stop to the use of foreign intelligence that may have been derived from the use of torture after a public outcry, but an exception was made in cases of imminent threats. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government is currently reviewing those security protocols. IKEA announced plans to buy a wind farm with 55 turbines in the oil-rich Canadian province of Alberta to offset its local stores' electricity use and reduce their carbon footprint. The Wintering Hills 88-megawatt wind farm, approximately 130 kilometers east of Calgary, can produce enough electricity for 54 big-box stores or 26,000 households. IKEA has a dozen stores in Canada with plans for more. The investment in renewable energy moves us closer to the global ambition to produce more renewable energy than we consume by 2020, IKEA Canada Sustainability Manager Brendan Seal said in a statement. The company has allocated $3.2 billion for renewable energy globally and has spent half of the amount since 2009. It is buying the 5-year-old wind farm in the heart of Canada's main oil-producing region from the energy firm TransAlta and mining behemoth Teck Resources for nearly 120 million Canadian dollars. It will be the second IKEA investment in renewable energy in Alberta, following the purchase of a 46-megawatt wind farm in Pincher Creek in 2013. The pair of farms will produce more than 4 times the energy the company consumes in Canada. The deal is expected to close within 3 weeks. Coming up, Kathleen Cruz reporting for entertainment this week. Arturo's Natividad on the Abbotsford Air Show. Jeanette Duazo on the positive benefits of therapy dogs. All these when we come back.
Greetings to all viewers from Victoria, Canada.
Victoria is the capital of British Columbia and is one of the top 10 gardens in the world, known as Butchart Gardens. Victoria is also known as a city of gardens, boasting nearly 1,500 hanging baskets around the city during the summer.
We are here in front of the Parliament building, which is the seat of the Legislative Assembly of the province. There are 3,560 bulbs lighting up the building, creating this beautiful display.
For Eagle News International, I am Jeanette Duazo.
And I am Neil Duazo from the Canada Bureau. We are one with 25.
Agila Balita, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 12 ng tanghali hanggang alauna ng hapon.
Ang Pilipinas ay isang bansang agrikultural na ang land area ay umaabot sa mahigit 30 milyong ektarya. Malaking bahagi nito tinatawag na lupang sakahan. Bagaman ang bansa ay isang agricultural country, problema pa rin ang kakapusan ng supply ng pagkain, lalo na sa mahihirap na syudad. Pero may nakikitang solusyon dito ang tinatawag na urban farming. Sa pamamagitan ng urban farming, kahit sa bakuran o mga bakanting lote, pwede itong tamnan lalo na manggulay at iba pang pananim. Sa pamamagitan din ng makabagong teknolohiya, maituturo sa mga kababayan ang paggawa ng organic na pataba at pag-iimbak ng tubig na gagamitin para mabilis tumubo ang mga pananim. Bukod sa katiyakan sa pagkain, may dagdag na kita pa kung marami ang aanihing produkto. Ako po si Mean Corvera, kaisa sa pagsusulong ng urban farming para na rin sa kasiguruhan ng sapat na supply ng pagkain.
Agila Probinsya, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 11:30 ng umaga hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali.
Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Aljamain Santos, your EBC Las Vegas Bureau Correspondent, encouraging you to say no to the good so you can say yes to the best. Because being the best version of yourself is a choice. If you reap what you sow, giving your best will only yield the best in return. Don't forget to watch Digital Nest every Tuesday and Thursday night, 7:30 p.m., only on Net 25. I'm Aljamain Santos, your EBC Las Vegas Bureau Correspondent, and I am one with 25.
Welcome back. You are still watching Eagle News International. I'm Arnie Aquino reporting from the Burnaby Mountain Park in Vancouver, British Columbia. Now and other news. Here's Kathleen Cruz for the report on entertainment this week.
Hi everyone, you are still watching Eagle News International and I am your showbiz reporter, Kathleen Cruz for entertainment this week. For this week, we are featuring the movies of 2017. Yes, that's right, movie lovers. It's our time to get out of our houses and go to the nearest cinema because 2017 is an interesting year for movies. We are only on the first month of 2017, but we might be already eyeing on what to watch and making lists for 2017 movies. Brand name filmmakers like Alexander Payne, Luc Besson, Christopher Nolan, Edgar Wright, and many more. Our first movie to watch maybe for March, Logan, a Wolverine character from the X-Men film series, will be up for March 3. But for a classic Disney fan like me, yes, I'm a Disney fan, Beauty and the Beast will have its first live-action adaptation starring Emma Watson as Belle and Dan Stevens as the Beast. This movie will be released on March 17, and a week after that, we will see the ever-classic Power Rangers on March 24 from Lionsgate. Okay, let's not miss this, guys. Dom and Letty will be back for the Fate of the Furious, the 8th installment of the Fast and Furious on April 14. And who doesn't love Groot? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 will be out as well by Marvel Studios for May 5. Wait, there's more. Captain Jack Sparrow, portrayed by Johnny Depp, will return into an all-new adventure for Pirates of the Caribbean. Dead Men Tell No Tales. Okay, this is different. Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot is perfect for this role. It has been years since we have a superhero female lead, so this will keep us posted for June 2. And on June 23, Transformers The Last Night, but wait, there's more. On June 30, the Minions will be back for Despicable Me 3. And a week after that, Wonder Woman, we will also see Peter for Spider-Man Homecoming. Welcome back, Peter! Thor's quest for survival leads him in a race against time to prevent Hela in Thor Ragnarok for October. Not only that, our favorite DC Comics superheroes like Batman, Superman, The Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg unite to battle the evil Steppenwolf for movie Justice League, distributed by Warner Brothers for November 17. And don't forget, Star Wars fans, that on December 15, The Force will be back for Episode 8, the second installment of sequel trilogy, The Force Awakens. Wow, that's a long list of movies for 2017. I am very excited to watch all these movies, but of course, there's still more good movies out there to watch out for. So this is it for entertainment this week, featuring movies of 2017. Until next time, my name is Kathleen Cruz, and I am one with 25.
Thank you, Kathleen. Now here's Arturo's Natividad on the Abbotsford Air Show.
In this beautiful sunny day, we are here to witness one of the best aviation events on Earth and in the sky, the Abbotsford International Air Show. Abbotsford International Air Show is an aviation festival that has been running for 5 decades. Ranked among one of the top 10 air shows in the world by USA Today, it continues to distinguish itself for aerospace advancement, aviation excellence, and community participation. Reporting from Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada for Eagle News. My name is Archie Rose Natividad. I'm 1 with 25.
Thank you, Archie Rose. Now here's Jeanette Duazo on the positive benefits of therapy dogs.
Comfort can come in many different forms, and for many patients, a visit from a furry friend can really brighten their day. The Therapy Dog Program is an example of the growing field of animal-assisted therapy to help people recover from or better cope with their health problems.
So we go into the libraries. We have about 5 libraries in Burlington. She lays down on the floor just like this in the library, and the kids come with their books. They hold their books up and they read to the dog. And it's absolutely amazing.
St. John's Ambulance has been running its volunteer therapy dog program in Canada for over 20 years. The program is funded directly through the St. John's Ambulance product and training sales and donations. The mission of the Therapy Dog Program is to create a moment of joy in communities. Communities throughout British Columbia and the rest of Canada establish local programs, setting up places to visit and evaluating teams of a dog and their owner. Therapy dogs are not service dogs, but they need to be able to socialize with people. The dogs are used as a bridge to interact with people, those secluded or isolated patients.
When you go into a hospital or a nursing home and you see the joy on people's faces and their smiles, you walk away with a warm heart, and you really truly know that you've done something wonderful for this world.
Our primary role is to visit the sick, the elderly, and the isolated, and so our main focus is nursing homes in the area. We probably visit about 30 different nursing homes. A lot of them are very common sense rules about behavior of the dog. One example is all of our dogs have to be on leash the entire time they're visiting. They have to be under the control of the handler. And we have to be out there representing the program well and recognizing that when we go into facilities, we're going into people's homes. Even though they may be living in a nursing home or a hospital, that is their home at that time. And so we have to respect them, respect the space they're living in. There's confidentiality issues that we have to be aware of. All of the volunteers go through our rules and guidelines orientation, but most of the nursing homes and facilities we visit also have their own orientation that they fill people in on the expectations.
The dogs help to relieve the stress and anxiety of working and visiting in a demanding place. For Eagle News, this is Jeanette Duazo from Western Canada Bureau. I am 1 with 25.
We've reached the end of our program today. Thank you for watching another segment of Eagle News International. From Burnaby Mountain Park in Vancouver, British Columbia, I'm Arnie Aquino. I am 1 with 25.